All right, so the scriptures speak of everything being written for our example when we look at the Old Testament, right? But the thing is, what I find is still, don't get me wrong, we know that you have some teachings out there that everyone says that we should only be following the law and things like that, but the fact of the matter is that the Old Testament is filled with history, and it's filled with examples of how to live and examples of things not to do and things like that. And one of the greatest areas that I find a lot of examples is in the books of the Kings and Chronicles. So it's interesting because we have all this history of everything the most important points of what the kings did while in the land of Israel, before and after, at some points, taken into captivity and things of that nature. So there's a couple kings we want to take a look at today, King Asa and King Jehoram, because there's some things that they did that kind of, when we look in the scriptures, we see ourselves, right? We see where we're falling short, and we got to look at these examples. So we're going to go to the book of 1 Kings, chapter 15, and we're going to be doing a little bit of reading here, but we're going to go through it, though, and we're going to see some things here that's going to be kind of interesting. So in the book of 1 Kings, chapter 15, we're going to start at verse 8. Verse 8 reads, "And Abijam slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city of David, and Asa, his son, reigned in his stead." And we're going to read about King Asa and what the scripture is actually giving account of about him. Before we do that, I want to ask a question. How many of us, and be honest, have actually read through all the Kings and Chronicles? All right. Sister Merlene, all right, good. All right, so I have as well. It's very, very interesting, I'm telling you. And it's some history that you really, really want to go back and look at when you get a chance. Verse 9, "And in the 20th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, reigned Asa over Judah. And 41 years reigned he in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Maacah, the daughter of Abishalom. And Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Most High, as did David his father." Now, it's interesting when you go through and read through all the kings, is that it'll tell you at some point this king either did righteous in the eyes of the Most High or they did unrighteous, right? There's also some that also tell you a little bit of, well, I won't spoil it here. We'll see. Verse 12, "And he took away the Sodomites out of the land and removed all the idols that his fathers had made. And also Maacah, his mother, even her he removed from being queen, because she had made an idol in a grove, and Asa destroyed her idol and burnt it by the brook Kidron. But the high places were not removed. Nevertheless, Asa's heart was perfect with the Most High all his days. And he brought in the things which his father had dedicated, and the things which himself had dedicated unto the house of the Most High, silver and gold and vessels. And there was war between Asa and Baasha, king of Israel, all their days. And Baasha, king of Israel, went up against Judah and built Ramah, that he might not suffer any to go out or come in to Asa, king of Judah. Then Asa took all the silver and the gold that were left in the treasures of the house of the Most High and the treasures of the king's house, and delivered unto them into the hand of his servants. And King Asa sent them to Ben-Hadad, the son of Tibrimon, the son of Hezion, king of Syria, that dwelt at Damascus, saying, There is a league between me and thee, and between my father and thy father. Behold, I have sent unto thee a present of silver and gold. Come and break thy league with Baasha, king of Israel, that he may depart from me. Now, this is very key, because we're going to read some other parts of the story in the book of Chronicles, 2 Chronicles also, right? Because we're going to see a judgment that is actually going to come against here King Asa. Well, not a judgment, but we're going to see something that's going to happen as a result of his choices, okay? Now, notice, though, that the Bible did say up there earlier here that in verse 11, that Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Most High, as did David his father. But there's something that we do want to see. So we see that there's going to be a war here between Asa and Baasha, king of Israel, king of the northern tribes, right? Mm-hmm. And so what did Asa do? Well, verse 18, he took all the silver, the gold, and addition of the other treasures, and he gave them unto the king of Assyria. So he turned to the king of Assyria for help against with the battle against his brother, the king of Israel, Baasha. Verse 20. So Ben-Hadad hearkened unto King Asa, and sent the captains of the host which he had against the cities of Israel, and smote Ijon, and Dan, and Abel Beth-Maacah, and all Sinarath, with all the land of Naphtali. So we see the king of Syria came in and actually helped the southern king, Asa, fight against the northern king, Baasha, right? Verse 22, then King Asa made a proclamation throughout all Judah. None was exempted. And they took away the stones of Ramah, and the timber thereof, therewith Baasha had builded. And King Asa built with them Geba of Benjamin and Mizpah. Verse 23, the rest of all the acts of Asa, and all his might, and all that he did, and the cities which he built, are they not written in the book of Chronicles of the kings of Judah? Nevertheless, in the time of his old age, he was diseased in his feet. Verse 24, and Asa slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David his father, and Jehoshaphat his son reigned in his stead. And we're going to stop right there because, right now you don't really see something yet. Well, maybe you do. But we're going to go over the Chronicles because there's other details given about some things that King Asa did. But it's interesting that here we have a king that the Bible calls as righteous. But it says he was diseased in his feet in his latter age. That's an interesting point because there's some things in Chronicles we're going to look at to point out about this. So we're going to go to the book of 2 Chronicles. And we're going to be in chapter 14, I believe. Yeah, chapter 14. And while we're reading this, let's make sure we think about ourselves, right? Let's think about ourselves, our own daily lives, our own choices we made, and things like that, okay? So 2 Chronicles chapter 14, verse 1. So Abijah slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city of David, and Asa his son reigned in his stead. In his days the land was quiet 10 years. And Asa did that which was good and right in the eyes of the Most High, his power. So here it again is repeating some information we saw in 1 Kings 15, that he did that which was right and good. Verse 3, for he took away the altars of the strange gods and the high places, and brake down the images, and cut down the groves. So we know he was actually doing some things righteous. He was getting rid of idols and things like that in the land, right? Verse 5, he also took away out of the cities of Judah and the high places and the images, and the kingdom was quiet before him. But remember, 1 Kings told us that he didn't remove all the high places, right? He didn't remove all the pagan places of worship. But still, he's known as a good king. Verse 6, and he built fenced cities in Judah, for the land had rest, and he had no war in those years, because the Most High had given him rest. So remember that we read there in the first 10 years, it was quiet before him. No war, peace, all those things, right? Verse 7, therefore he said unto Judah, let us build these cities and make about them walls and towers, gates and bars, while the land is yet before us. Because we have sought the Most High our power, we have sought him, and he hath given us rest on every side. So they built and prospered. So they even have a period of prosperity going here, right? Now you see all this acknowledgement that King Asa is given to the Most High, right? All this acknowledgement, right? We'll see. Verse 8. And Asa had an army of men that bare targets and spears. Out of Judah 300,000, and out of Benjamin that bare shields and drew bows 280,000. All these were mighty men of valor. And there came out against them Zerah the Ethiopian with a host of 1,000. Now 1,000 is a million. All right? And 300 the chariots, and came unto Marishah. Then Asa went out against him, and they set the battle in array in the valley of Zapatha at Marishah. Now watch King Asa here, right? Verse 11 says, and Asa cried unto the Most High his God, and said, Father, Lord, it is nothing with thee to help, whether with many or with them that have no power. Help us, O Lord our God, for we rest on thee. And in thy name we go against this multitude. O Lord, thou art our God. Let not man prevail against thee. So, you see all this is King Asa saying, right? He's given the Most High acknowledgement. He's acknowledging that it's the Most High that's going to bless them to win the war. He even said that they're going to go out there and fight the battle in the Most High's name, right? So here he is. He's telling the Most High that he trusts in him and all these different things, right? But we're going to continue reading, okay? So verse 12. So the Most High smote the Ethiopians before Asa and before Judah, and the Ethiopians fled. So here we have it. A man is putting his trust in the Most High, right? He's trusting that the Most High is going to do something for him. The Most High is going to give him victory. You know what I mean? Just like we do in life as well, right? We say we trust in the Most High, that he's going to give us victory over things that are going on. And, and then we watch the Most High give us victory if we do actually have the faith, right? So we see the king as being a good example to us right now, right? But we're going to keep going. Verse 13, and Asa and the people that were with him pursued them unto Gerar, and the Ethiopians were overthrown, that they could not recover themselves, for they were destroyed before the Most High and before his host, and they carried away very much spoil. So here we see that the Most High spoiled them, right? To the point that Asa and all the people was able to pursue them unto a certain point, and then they had the spoils of war left over, right? Now think about all this victory that's happening, right? And if you should be thinking back to something we read in Kings, though, that should be actually kind of coming to your mind and say, wait a minute, right? But hold on, we're going to get there. Verse 14, and they smote all the cities round about Gerar, for the fear of the Most High came upon them, and they spoiled all the cities, for there was exceeding much spoil in them. They smote also the tents of the cattle, and carried away sheep and camels in abundance, and returned unto Jerusalem. So we're reading about this great battle, right, that they did and everything, right? But let's continue going. Verse 15. Chapter 15 of 2 Chronicles, verse 1. And the Spirit of the Most High came upon Azariah, the son of Oded, and he went out to meet Asa, and said unto him, Hear ye me, Asa, and all Judah and Benjamin. The Most High is with you, while ye be with him. Stop right there. Stop right there. We got to camp for a second. Because we're reading about all that this king did, right? All this victory, right? They were going to, the Ethiopian king was coming up against him, and he cried unto the Most High, right? He did what he was supposed to do, right? As we should do in our own trials and temptations, right? Remember, all things were written for our learning, as examples for us, right? So he's given us a good example so far, right? 2 Chronicles 15 and verse 2. And he went out to meet Asa. So here we have Azariah, the son of Oded. And he's telling Asa, the Most High is with you while ye be with him. See, we got to camp there for a second, because we all have different areas of our lives that we can think back to that we got the victory over. Then we have some that we didn't get the victory over. What changed between the things that we did get victory over versus the things we didn't get victory over? Could it be that we got victory when we got victory because the Most High was with us because we were with him? Oh, see, I know, but we're going through Job and everything, right? And we're going to eventually get to the point where Job is being asked questions about the Most High, right? But it's interesting here that he tells Asa, the Most High is with you for as long as you're with him. So again, it comes back and tells me something, right? Because the Most High is constantly looking for us to be with him as well. We keep talking about relationship, right? We keep talking about Holy Spirit, have your way with us, right? We keep talking about Holy Spirit, fill me up, right? And like we talked about before, the Most High is always ready and willing, right? He's standing by right there ready every time. But we're not. Because we still have things that, let's just be honest, we still have things we're putting before the Most High. We still have things that are more important to us in our lives than the Most High, right? There's things that we still have not quite set in order in our houses, right? And we know, coming up on the end of Feast of Unleavened Bread, we know we're talking about these physical houses here that the Most High made with his own hand. Some things we still haven't got in order in these houses. Well, let's continue here in verse 2 of 2 Chronicles 15. So again, Azariah said, the Most High is with you while ye be with him. Continuing on, and if ye seek him, he will be found of you. But if ye forsake him, he will forsake you. Y'all know those times in life where we feel like we say, Father, I don't know where you are. I can't see you. I'm going through these things and I can't see you anywhere. Where are you? And so we begin to question, we begin to now doubt that he's even there, right? But yet, in the scripture here, written for our example, he says he'll be with us if we be with him. See, the question is not if the Most High is with us today. The question is, are we with him? That's the real question, because the thing is, and we're using King Asa as an example because there's something we're going to see that King Asa is going to do a little later that's going to be like, whoa, wait a minute. You? The one that cried out to the Most High for the Egyptians, and he smote the Egyptians for you? You saw him do this? You? How could you do this after seeing such a mighty thing that the Most High did before your eyes? And what's interesting is that in the Bible, we read about different accounts where they had a greater demonstration of his power than what a lot of us have seen today. Mm-hmm. And yet, they did the same thing we do today. That's what's interesting. So again, he said, the Lord is with you while ye be with him. Let me say this today to every one of us. The Most High is with you while you're with him. But the moment you leave him, he's going to leave you. Mm-hmm. Okay? We need to remember that point.
Or become silent, right?
Uh-huh.
Because he said he'll never leave or forsake us.
He said he'd never leave or forsake us, right?
So in a sense, it's him becoming silent.
Okay. But, you know what? Here's the thing. When he says they'll never leave you nor forsake you, right? Mm-hmm. When reading it in context, right? It also, though, the whole chapter implies still relationship. Mm-hmm. And the thing about it is that if I'm in relationship with you, right? You won't leave me or forsake me, right? You'll always be there. But what will happen if I decide to push you to the side? Can you actually be with me at that point? If I'm pushing you away, can you actually be with me? You can't tarry with me at that point because I'm the one that's causing the problem. I'm the one that's causing the break in the flow, right? I'm causing a break in the relationship. And so no matter how much you try then, you may be like, CJ, hey, I'm trying to reach out to you, but if I never reach back out, eventually you got to let me be until I'm ready to come back into the point and be in relationship again, right?
Is that kind of like the backslider being like a dog returning to his vomit?
Yes. Or like the prodigal son, for example.
Right.
The prodigal son went away, right? But his daddy never left.
Right.
His daddy was always in position.
Right.
His daddy simply waited for him to come back. So the Most High won't leave us or forsake us, but we leave him and forsake him all the time. And that's why he'll be with us while we be with him. But when we leave him, we're no longer with him, so how can he be with us? If we're not in union with him, he can't be in union with us. Because remember, we have a God that won't force himself upon us. He won't force relationship on us. He willingly stands in the gap and says, hey, I'm willing to have a covenant relationship with you. As Brother Craig always points out about covenant, right? But you have to also have covenant with me. So we're going to see something about King Asa, what he did. All right? So he said, again, the Most High is with you while ye be with him. And if ye seek him, he will be found of you. But if ye forsake him, he will forsake you. See, the point is that if we forsake him, how can he actually do anything for us? I mean, remember the Messiah said in certain places that he couldn't even do a miracle because of the people's unbelief, right? There's always something from us that's needed, right? Always something. Verse 3. Now for a long season, Israel has been without the true God and without the teaching priest and without the law. But when they in their trouble did turn unto the Most High, God of Israel, and sought him, he was found of them. We know this is true because you go back through all the book of Judges, right? Every single time. Gideon, Samson, all these different judges, right? Every single time we forgot the Most High, we got in trouble, we cried and said, Father, help me, help me. And he heard our cry every single time. Then he got us to the point where we were back on our feet. We were back on our feet. We felt good again. Then what did we do? We blew it again. We turned away from him again. And see, that's what happens in our lives today, right? We want to know why we're in this position in life, or why we're not further along or further ahead, or why we're not this place where we dream we would be. It's not because of him failing us. It's because of us failing him. That's the problem. That's why verse 4 in this Chronicles, 2 Chronicles 15 says, but when they in their trouble did turn unto the Most High, God of Israel, and sought him, he was found of them.
That's the key.
That's the key. Right. They sought him. They turned to him and sought him. But the whole thing is, the whole time, he was right there. They just forgot him. When we put it, that's just what it comes down to. They ignored him. Verse 5, and in those times there was no peace to him that went out, nor to him that came in, but great vexations were upon all the inhabitants of the countries. And nation was destroyed of nation, and city of city, for the Most High did vex them with all adversity. But be ye strong therefore, and let not your hands be weak, for your work shall be rewarded. So remember, this is what Azariah, the son of Oded, is telling King Asa. So let's recap for a second. The Bible tells us Asa did righteously in the sight of the Most High. It tells us that the Egyptians were coming to war against them. And it tells us that Asa turned to the Most High and cried unto the Most High, and the Most High was victorious on his behalf, right? But then, notice, see, when we think if we're kind of doing things in the way our minds work, we would think that Azariah, the son of Oded, would have came to Asa before the battle, right? But it was after. So it's interesting there. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't after there. But the point is that yet Asa and all that he did righteously unto the Most High, but yet the Most High still saw fit for Azariah to still come and admonish him about this. You know, the Most High always sees further than what we can see, right? He always sees down the road. Verse 8, and when Asa heard these words and the prophecy of Oded the prophet, he took courage and put away the abominable idols out of the land of Judah and Benjamin, and out of the cities which he had taken from the Mount Ephraim, and renewed the altar of the Most High that was before the porch of the Most High. And he gathered all Judah and Benjamin and the strangers with him out of Ephraim and Manasseh and out of Simeon, for they fell to him out of Israel in abundance when they saw that the Most High his God was with him. So here we see that some of our brothers and everything from the northern tribes started kind of being in league with him, right? When they saw the Most High was with him. Verse 10, so they gathered themselves together at Jerusalem in the 3rd month in the 15th year of the reign of Asa. And they offered unto the Most High the same time of the spoil which they had brought, 700 oxen and 7,000 sheep. And they entered into the covenant to seek the Most High, God of their fathers, with all their heart and with all their soul. It is interesting because they're entered into covenant again and again and again and again to seek the Most High God of their fathers with all their heart and with all their soul. But remember, they're supposed to have been doing that all the time before, though, right? Verse 13, that whosoever would not seek the Most High God of Israel should be put to death. So they were so serious now in their commitment to say that if you don't do it, you're going to die. Whether small or great, whether man or woman. That's the key point. So they wasn't making any distinctions. Man, woman, small or great. You're going to die if you're not seeking the Most High. Verse 14, and they swear unto the Most High with a loud voice and with shouting and with trumpets and cornets. So here they're having a celebration, right, with instruments and music. And all Judah rejoiced at the oath, for they had sworn with all their heart and sought him with their whole desire. And he was found of them. And the Most High gave them rest round about. See, you know, there's a rest that a lot of us are seeking right now. And the rest is really right there if we really would just seek him with our whole heart. If we would stop being so busy at times. If we would really let him be first in every area of our lives. Don't get me wrong, there's areas of our lives that we do put him first. But it's the areas that we don't put him first that he's concerned with. You know what I mean? Those are the areas that he's concerned with. Verse 16, and also concerning Ma'akah, the mother of Asa, the king, he removed her from being queen because she had made an idol in a grove. Now think about this. This king here at this point, he was so righteous that, and I mean that legitimately, not there's no pun about that, that his mother, who had made an idol, he had her remove this queen. That's how serious he was in his commitment to the Most High, that he removed his own mama. Okay? That's a commitment, because that would be something that would be very difficult for many of us in this day and age to do, right? Yeah, so some of us, we can do it, right? But I'm just saying, a lot of people, it'll be difficult for, right? So it says, because she had made an idol in a grove, and Asa cut down her idol and stamped it and burnt it at the brook Kidron. So he didn't just cut the idol down, he destroyed it. Verse 17, but the high places were not taken away out of Israel. Nevertheless, the heart of Asa was perfect all his days. So he didn't take away the high places. We know we all make mistakes, but the Bible says his heart was perfect towards the Most High all his days. Verse 18, and he brought into the house of the Most High the things that his father had dedicated, and that he himself had dedicated, silver and gold and vessels. And there was no more war unto the 35th year of the reign of Asa. You may say, brother, where are we getting with this? We're going to get to a point, because we got to show all this that Asa did, all this faith and all this commitment he had, and all these things he did in the land while being king, right? But there's always a but. There's a but somewhere. 2 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 1. In the 36th year of the reign of Asa, Baasha, king of Israel, came up against Judah and built Ramah, to the intent that he might let none go out or come in to Asa, king of Judah. So you hear Baasha, king of Israel, is building Ramah with an ulterior motive. He's building it so that no more of the other children from the other tribes can go down to King Asa, right? To be in league with him. So we see his whole premise on doing this is wrong. Verse 2, then Asa brought out silver and gold out of the treasures of the house of the Most High and the king of the king's house, and sent to Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, that dwelt at Damascus, saying, there is a league between me and thee, and there was between my father and thy father. Behold, I have sent thee silver and gold. Go, break thy league with Baasha, king of Israel, that he may depart from me. Now, if we're following along in this account, we should be stopping and saying, whoa, wait a minute here. When the Ethiopians came against you, you turned and cried to the Most High. And now, your brother, the king of Israel, is building Ramah so that people can't come from the other tribes to hear you, and now you want to run to the king of Syria? Really? Something's wrong with this picture, y'all. Something's wrong. And then we're going to see even more so why something's wrong with it, because there's going to be something that the Most High is going to point out about this all. Verse 4, and Ben-Hadad hearkened unto King Asa, and sent the captains of his armies against the cities of Israel. And they smote Ijon and Dan and Abamam and all the store cities of Naphtali. Same thing we read in 1 Kings 15 so far, right? Verse 5, and it came to pass when Baasha heard it, that he left off building of Ramah and let his work cease. So Ben-Hadad from Syria did come to the rescue of King Asa. And of course, Baasha, the king of the northern kingdom, Israel, he stopped doing what he was doing, right? But we're going to continue on. Verse 6. Then Asa the king took all Judah, and they carried away the stones of Ramah and the timber thereof, wherewith Baasha was building, and he built therewith Geba and Mizpah. And at that time, Hanani the seer came to Asa king of Judah, and said unto him, here we go, the prophet, now coming to the king. Because there's something the Most High is about to point out to the king. Remember, this king was righteous and did what was right in the sight of the Most High, right? Had battles and cried out to the Most High, and the Most High rescued him from the Ethiopians. But watch what the prophet says to him. Because thou hast relied on the king of Syria, and hast not relied on the Most High thy God, therefore is the host of the king of Syria escaped out of thine hand. So the prophet's coming with a judgment now. Remember, this was a righteous king, though. Verse 8. Watch what the Most High points out to King Asa. He said, were not the Ethiopians and the Lubims a huge host? And with very many chariots and horsemen? Yet, because thou didst rely on the Most High, he delivered them into thine hand. So the prophet is pointing out something to King Asa. He said, wasn't there a huge army with the Ethiopians and the Lubims? And you depended on the Most High, and guess what? He gave you the victory. Verse 9. For the eyes of the Most High run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to show himself strong in the behalf of him whose heart is perfect toward him. Stop right there. Let's read that first part of that verse again. For the eyes of the Most High run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to show himself strong in the behalf of him whose heart is perfect toward him. Y'all remember the lesson we did on Job about the bulldog? Remember how the Most High asked Satan, he said, have you considered my servant Job? Remember how we talked about how, a lot of times we are considered as well? But this scripture even goes further that says that the Most High is looking for an opportunity to show himself strong on behalf of those whose heart is perfect toward him. So you may ask yourself, or you may think to yourself, well, okay, so that's why I had those problems, or that's why I'm going through this trial right now. The Most High is actually looking for an opportunity to show himself strong on my behalf. Really? Or I'm in this situation because I made a lot of bad choices. Continue on to verse 9 though. Herein thou hast done foolishly. Therefore from henceforth thou shalt have wars. Whoa, did y'all see this judgment here? Because of one act of King Asa. Even though the Bible does say he was righteous in the eyes of the Most High, and guess what? If we all make it to the kingdom, we'll see King Asa there. But one act now brought war for the rest of his reign over the kingdom of Judah. One act of not trusting. But I submit to you today that we all in this room and on the call have many acts of not trusting him. That's why stuff continues to go. Asa only had one act of not trusting. And that meant wars for the rest of his reign. If the Most High, let's think about this for a second, okay? Someone may say, wow, the Most High was pretty swift and harsh on that judgment. But the Most High knows us better than we know ourselves, right? If his judgment with King Asa was, because you didn't trust in me this one time, you're going to have wars the rest of the time you're a king, then what kind of judgments has he actually presented against us? And that's something we really need to take seriously. Yeah. But look at Asa's response though, right? Verse 10, then Asa was wroth with the seer. So he got mad at the prophet and put him in a prison house. What? Y'all remember, we're talking about a king that the Bible says was righteous. That when the prophet came to give him the word of the Most High, he was angry and put the prophet in prison. For he was in a rage with him because of this thing. So why he get mad at the prophet, right? If he's going to be mad at somebody, he should have been mad at the Most High. Not that that would make a difference. But my point is, he placed the blame on the prophet. The prophet was just simply the mouthpiece, right? But it's the same way we do today. You know, when truth comes forth, you know, a lot of times, you know, we get mad at the person that the Most High is using to bring the truth, right? And stuff like that, you know, instead of, you know, taking it back to the Most High where it should be, right? So Asa put the prophet in prison, was in a rage, and look at this, it says, and Asa oppressed some of the people at the same time. So here we got a king that was righteous, that turned to the Most High. You know, he had peace during the first 10 years of his reign. He turned to the Most High when the Ethiopians and the Lubims came against him. We read how they had an army over 1 million strong. But the Most High delivered them into his hands. Then his brother, the king of Israel, all he did was went to start building something to block people from the northern kingdom from getting into the southern kingdom. And it's like Asa got scared at that point, so, you know, and panicked. You know what? I got to send some silver to Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria. Why would he go to Syria? Y'all know that when you read about our captivities, right? It was Syria that took the northern kingdom captive. Okay? So he turned to another kingdom instead of turning to the Most High about this, when this was something so less of a situation that was, I'm trying to say it right. This was a situation that was not even as threatening as the situation was with the Ethiopians and Lubims. Okay? So Asa gets mad at the prophet, throws the prophet in prison, is upset, and even oppresses some of the people. Verse 11, and behold, the acts of Asa, first and last, lo, they are written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. And Asa, in the 39th year of his reign, was diseased in his feet, until his disease was exceeding great. Yet in his disease he sought not the Most High, but to the physicians. And right after that you read, and Asa slept with his fathers and died. Now, we need to ask a question here, because, again, the Bible says all these things were written for our examples, right? Gives us the examples of even the kings of Israel and Judah. How is it? What could make a king that the Bible declares righteous? A king that we will see in the kingdom, provided we all make it there. What makes a king that had peace during the first 10 years of his reign? He cut down the idols in the land. He cut down the droves. Even had his mama taken down as queen because she put up a grove for a false god. What would have a king that did all this trust in the Most High, then all of a sudden, when the king of Israel, Baasha, starts building Ramah, a fort, in order to keep people from the northern tribes from going into the southern kingdom, what would cause him to be so afraid that he would now forget all that the Most High did for him before and turn to a foreign king and a foreign nation for relief? Y'all know why we talking about this? Because we forget too. Like, we're going through situations right now, individually, maybe collectively too. And each one of us can think about a time that the Most High rescued us out of something, right? And yet, when we face our darkest hour, or what we think is our darkest hour, because y'all know a lot of times we pump it up in our head, right? It's actually worse in our own minds than what it really is. But what would make us now, in some of our darkest hours and our darkest places, forget all that he had already did before? Just like this king. To the point that this king, it says in the 39th year of his reign, he was diseased in his feet to the point that it got exceeding great. But instead of him remembering the Most High and seeking the Most High for healing, he turned to the physicians, the doctors. And then, like I said, it's so funny, not funny, but it's amazing because the very next verse says, and Asa slept with his fathers and died in the 140th year of his reign. It just tells us after that he died. You know, we can see the example of Hezekiah where he was told by the prophet that he was going to die. And you know what? Thank you, Father. Let's go and see what Hezekiah did. So, give me 1 second. Let me find it. Because we don't want to just look at the bad example. We want to look at the good example too. But we're going to come back to Asa. All right? Let's see here. And if anyone finds it before me, let me know. Let's see here. Bear with me just a moment, y'all. Thank you, Father, for that, because we need to see this. Give me 1 second, y'all. I think it's in 2 Kings 19, but no. Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 20. Now, we saw what Asa did, right? We saw what Asa did when he was diseased in his feet, right? We saw he turned to the physicians. He didn't seek the Most High. Remember what Azariah, the son of Oded, told him, that the Most High is with you while you be with him. And if you seek the Most High, he will be found of you. The Bible specifically tells us, though, when he started having a disease, he did not turn to the Most High. When he saw the issue going on with Baasha, king of Israel, he did not turn into the Most High. He turned to a foreign nation. But let's see the example of Hezekiah instead. 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 1. In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death. And the prophet Isaiah, the son of Amoz, came to him and said unto him, Thus saith the Most High, Set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live. Whoa, stop right there. Think about that if there were one of us today. If the prophet came to you and said, Set your house in order, the Most High said you're going to die. We will be terrified, right? Verse 2. Then he turned his face to the wall and prayed unto the Most High, saying, Now watch what Hezekiah did, though. I beseech thee, O Most High, remember now how I walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart, and that have done that which is good in thy sight. And Hezekiah wept sore. I'm going to tell you, I got to tell you that the first time I had ever read this account of Hezekiah, it actually made me come to tears. Because you can see in the words of the text, this guy was really sincere. Verse 4, And it came to pass, afore Isaiah was gone out into the middle court, that the word of the Most High came to him, saying, Turn again and tell Hezekiah, the captain of my people, Thus saith the Most High, the God of David thy father, I have heard thy prayer, I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will heal thee. On the third day thou shalt go up unto the house of the Most High. And I will add unto thy days 15 years. And I will deliver thee out of this city, out of the hand of the king of Assyria. And I will defend this city for mine own sake and for my servant David's sake. Look at that. So you mean to tell me that when the Most High makes a decree, he can't change his mind? We are seeing an example where the Most High changed his mind. All because, and you know what? It was all because of what Hezekiah did. Hezekiah sought him, and it says he wept sore. Do we understand what that means to weep sore? For lack of a better thing I can think of, if you ever been to a funeral and it was someone you just was crazy about, you remember how you wept. That was a sore weeping. That means that you cried with everything you had in you. When my father passed away, that's the way it was for me. I cried with everything that was in me. I cried so hard that literally, kid you not, like my chest hurt. That was just how hard it was. This king wept sore when he found out, when the prophet came to him and told him, set your house in order, you're going to die. And then we see the Most High came back and told him, say, go back to the king and give him my word. And it came to pass, again, verse 4, before Isaiah was gone out into the middle court, that the word of the Most High came to him, saying, turn again and tell Hezekiah, the captain of my people, thus saith the Most High, the God of David thy father, I have heard thy prayer, I have seen thy tears, behold, I will heal thee. On the third day thou shalt go up unto the house of the Most High, and I will add unto thy days 15 years. See, not only did the Most High heal him, bless him to live, told him he was going to add 15 years to his life. So why didn't King Asa do that? Somehow, fear set in. He forgot the things that the Most High did for him already. Something happened to make a king that had seen all that Asa saw, that reigned 40 years. So you know he had experience with the Most High. The Most High saw something he was going to do, which is why he sent Azariah, the son of Oded, to him to tell him, if you seek me, you'll find me. I'll be with you as long as you're with me. Again, scriptures were in for our example. There's some kind of areas in our lives we can apply this. Because y'all know there's a term they say in the world, they say when someone gets on their feet, they show their behind. They're not as kind with it by saying behind, but But we know what that means, right? It means that when they get on their feet, they don't know you no more. They don't want to have nothing to do with you no more, right? Because they're on their feet. They can do what they want to do now. They can go freely and everything, right? But before, though, when they're not on their feet, oh, they're with you. They're talking to you. They're trying to get help, and they're doing all these things that seem to do all the right things. But as soon as they're back on their feet again, they turn away. This is exactly what we do in our walk with the Most High. I'm sure there's some kind of area in each of one of our lives we can look back and say, yep, that was me. That was me. I did that. And then now we have the nerve to ask him, why am I in this situation? Well, it's because the previous situation you were in, when I got you back on your feet, you turned away. You didn't know me anymore, as they say in the world, right? You don't know me, right? So it's amazing how when we're sitting high and we're sitting where we want to be, we turn and we forget. And then the Most High has allowed some other trial, temptation, some kind of horror, something to happen for us to remember him again. Because he's constantly saying, as long as you are with me, I'll be with you. But the moment you're not with me, I won't be with you. Oh, we really need to let this sink in, because while we may not abandon the Most High in every way, we have areas in our life that we abandon him in. That's how come we have areas off limits. See, y'all know that, right? That's why certain areas are off limits, because we look at those areas and we say, you know what? This area, Most High, I got this under control. This is me. All right? So, Father, you do you, I'm going to do me. That's what we do. That's really what we say. In this area, I'm good. I don't need your help here. So I'm good right here. But he's like, yeah, but I want to be in that area, though. I want to I want to be right there where you don't want me to be. Father, I told you, I don't need you here, though. I told you, I got this. Yeah, but that's where I want to be, too. Because, those areas that we got that we seem all together, y'all know we give a lot of focus to those areas, right? We give a lot of attention to those areas, right? Those areas are very important to us because they're just the way we want them to be. So we feel like we're in total control of this area. And then something happened. He said, no, you thought you were in control of it. You thought, but you're not. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Sis Maswa. Yeah.
All right. So my first thought, which was a few chapters ago,
Uh-huh.
The Ethiopian.
Uh-huh.
He was allowed, to allow them to, him to conquer Ethiopia.
Right.
Could part of that been because they were already accursed?
Well, when we look at the scriptures, it says he turned to him and cried unto the Most High. And it shows in the chapter as a result of him crying unto the Most High. The Most High.
You didn't have a dualness to it?
Well,
You didn't
just
think
in context of what we're reading, we can't apply it that way. Just because the thing is, there's a point that is the chapter's trying to get to us to see, for the example of the king, of what happens when he turns to him. So in that chapter, we can't say that because it wouldn't be in context of what's going on in the rest of the chapter, though.
Okay.
That's all.
Then my next thought is the difference between Hezekiah and Asa
Uh-huh.
is because with Hezekiah, even though he may have done some things,
Mhm.
in his life that has gotten him to the point where he was about to die,
Mm-hmm.
and then him crying out, and seeking the Most High, then he spared him a little bit longer because he was able to foresee, of course, that he was going to actually serve a purpose that's going to glorify him.
Mm-hmm.
Asa, on the other hand,
Mm-hmm.
he already knew. It was already known that he wasn't going to. He wasn't going to. His actions was not going to render any glory to the Most High. That's the reason why he just went ahead and let him just go.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is, this happens to us every day.
Right.
People are told, or whether it's told by a physician or the spirit itself, the angelic entity itself comes and tells the people. It then comes and tells them
Mm-hmm.
that this is what's about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Get your affairs in order. How do we know this actually happened? Because everyone that angelic being or that spirit comes and tell that person to, they start setting their affairs in order. When the doctors do it, they also have an opportunity to do that as well. They're being told now by a physical being that you are about to die.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you need to do. And then I think in some cases, some people just kind of, overlook it, or they just automatically just lose their will or what have you. But then you have others that, they do go ahead and they move forward and setting those affairs in order, and, and then they start to do things, to really show everyone around them that, okay, this is what's happening to me, but I'm not going to let it get me down. I'm going to go out fighting this, that, and the other. Then you have others, they're told that they're going to die, and they've actually been given a time frame.
Yes.
And then those people turn their situation around by now turning to the Most High. And then if you notice, their life actually gets extended.
That's the point. See, that's the
that
point.
happens now.
Right. Because the thing is this. When you look at the account in the context of it, it specifically tells us that Asa, nevertheless, while he was diseased, did not seek the Most High. And see, that's interesting to say, because it's interesting that the scriptures actually points that out. There's an emphasis put on that point. And that's the part that's interesting, because see, here we got two kings. Both of them got some kind of sickness, because Hezekiah was sick as well. You can go and read more in the book of Isaiah about his sickness, as well as in Chronicles, because it gives us more details in those other areas too. We have two kings, both sick, but one does something the other doesn't, and the one which is seek the Most High, and because he sought the Most High, he lived. See, the thing is, like, we can talk about how, predestination and things like that, right? But, a lot of times when we talk about, for example, predestination and stuff, sometimes we give ourselves a pass, because we say, well, the Most High has this purpose or whatever and stuff like that. So you know what? We take that almost as a way where we don't have to do something. See, if I was given a time span to say, hey, you know what? You're about to die. You're going to die. Oh, you better believe. Like, I'd be crying every day. Like that. I'm seriously that. Or let's just say this, right? Because, we all say stuff. I would like to think that I would be crying out to the Most High and doing as Hezekiah did. I say that because I've learned a thing that my mom said to me a long time ago. Don't say what you'll do, because you never know what you'll do when you're put in a situation. But I would like to think that if put in that situation, that I'm going to be diligently seeking him as well still to actually, because I know by this account that he can change a decree.
Right.
Something else to that too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, when people, if that were the case,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to also look at your motives as to why you're crying out.
Yes.
Because a lot of times people cry out because they want to be here for their kids.
That's right.
They want to be here for their grandkids.
That's right.
They want to see someone get married.
That's
This, that, and
right.
the other. So none of that has anything to do with the Most High.
Right.
But technically,
That's right.
as humans, that's what we do.
Right.
I can't go now because this hasn't happened. This hasn't
Yes.
happened. What is it is that have anything to do with him
Right.
and your purpose
That's
for
right.
him? Because we were made for his purpose.
That's right.
His pleasure.
Uh-huh.
So seeing your kids grow up may not be a part of his pleasure and purpose.
That's right.
But what if part of his purpose and pleasure was that the ones that you're hoping that you get a chance to see, you actually plant the seed, so
Yes.
therefore they'll carry on
Uh-huh.
to do what his purpose and pleasure is. But if that's not the case, if that's not what's in your heart,
Right.
then what's the point of you still being here?
So let's put out another practical example of this. It's like when someone does something wrong and they say, I'm sorry because they were caught.
Right.
Yeah,
That's what
Yeah.
it's like.
Yeah.
So they're not really sorry.
yeah,
They're just sorry they got caught.
Yeah.
They're sorry that you caught them doing the act.
yeah.
But there's no heart change, no conversion.
repentance,
Right.
yeah.
They're not sorry
There's,
that they did it.
right.
Yeah.
They're not sorry that they did it. So there's
Yeah.
no true repentance.
Yeah.
So then when they say that they're sorry to you, you instantly know you're not
Yeah,
sorry.
no, they're not. And
Like,
you can tell.
right, like Jasmine, and like Jasmine got to school yesterday, got in trouble at school yesterday, and when she tells me she's sorry, and I said to her, I said, no, you're not sorry. I said, because if you were sorry, you wouldn't keep doing this, okay? We wouldn't have this issue come up periodically at school. So I don't want to hear your apologies, because I don't accept your apologies because you don't mean it. When you mean the apology, I'll accept it gladly. But don't tell me you're sorry and then go back and repeat the same thing. And I asked her, I said, are you going to go back to school and do it? She said, I'm not going to on Monday. I said, yeah, that's exactly what I thought. You won't do it Monday, but you might do it a month from now.
But had you accepted the apology, and because you knew, because you probably felt that it was sincere, and now you are extending grace and now trust
Right.
that she's going to.
And
do
see,
what
I
she
can't
said,
do that.
And you can't do that.
Right.
Same thing with us.
Exactly. So see, that's the whole thing. We're sorry because we were caught. But we're not. There's no repentance involved. There's no thing that says I'm going to change. But see, the thing is, when you look at Hezekiah, the first thing Hezekiah said was, I beseech thee, O Most High, remember now how I have walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart. Did Hezekiah want to live? Sure, he wanted to live. But he appealed to the Most High according to the way he lived his life, though. He says, and have done that which is good in thy sight. And he wept while doing it. So here was a man that was sincere and was saying, Father, remember me. Father, I did righteous in your sight. So what does that tell us about him? That tells us that he wasn't living his life for himself either. He was living his life for the Most High's purpose. See, we can't be declared righteous in the Most High's sight unless we have surrendered our lives to him to be used for what he wants us to use it for. Like you said in the song, we constantly say we were made for his purpose. We were made for his pleasure. But in action, that's not the way we behave. That's why when my son asked me what would happen, how would you feel if you lost a house, right? Because we just talk about scenarios. I said, well, I'd be disappointed. I said, but at the end of the day, I'd be okay with it. And he said, really? I said, yeah, because the Most High can give you another house. You know what I mean? But if the Most High has me living in a shack, and I'm telling you, I mean this. She can tell you that. I mean this now. I have learned how to trust him. I have learned to trust. And I have learned because we have been in situations that seemed impossible, and we watched him do something. I've even shared some of those testimonies here. So the thing about it is that I know no matter what the situation comes, he can change it. Like I said, you had one king, didn't seek him while he was diseased, even though he sought him during his life for war. He did righteously, he removed the groves. But now when it came time when he was sick, he went to the doctors. When it came time for Baasha to be building Ramah, he got scared and went to another king for help. The point is, like we read in 2 Chronicles, The Most High is always going to and fro. It says, looking to show himself mighty for those that are his. That's the point. But how can he show himself mighty for us if we don't trust him when we get put in situations?
And the thing is, a lot of times, these situations, we put ourselves in.
Yes.
I'm just thinking about some things just now. And
Yes, we do.
We put ourselves in a situation, and then, and instead of stop putting ourselves in a situation, we just keep on doing it. And then, instead of seeking the Most High and saying, okay, I know I did this. I know that I did not do this the way that I should have been doing it. And now, once again, I'm in the same situation. Please help me. But no, you run to your brothers and sisters and think they're supposed to do it for you. Well, the thing is, you did this. You did it. So with you doing this, then for one, you need to stop doing it. And then maybe the situation will turn around. But that's not always the case. And we see this over and over again.
That's right.
I know I'm so proud, but I'm just
No,
thinking.
but it's true.
I'm thinking because
It's true.
That's exactly what happens.
It is true. It's absolutely true. So I want to go and look a little further here at this account of Hezekiah. Let's go to 2 Chronicles 32. 2 Chronicles 32. And we're going to start at the 24th verse. And it says, 2 Chronicles 32:24, in those days Hezekiah was sick to the death, and prayed unto the Most High, and he spake unto him, and he gave him a sign. But Hezekiah rendered not again according to the benefit done unto him, for his heart was lifted up. Therefore there was wrath upon him and upon Judah and Jerusalem. Notwithstanding, see, Hezekiah did something wrong too, even though he was a righteous king. He did make mistakes. We all make mistakes. The point is, though, what do we do in the end to rectify it? Verse 26, notwithstanding, Hezekiah humbled himself for the pride of his heart, both he and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so that the wrath of the Most High came not upon them in the days of Hezekiah. Let's go to Isaiah 38. Why am I going? Because the Bible says 2 or more witnesses. So the book of Isaiah, chapter 38. Remember, we're looking at some examples in the Kings and looking at practically in our own lives, what are we doing? Isaiah 38, verse 1. In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death. Again, same account. And Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amoz, came unto him and said unto him, thus saith the Most High, set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live. Seems like almost a direct same thing in 2 Kings, right? Then Hezekiah turned his face toward the wall and prayed unto the Most High and said, remember how, O Lord, I beseech thee, how I have walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in thy sight. Now, here's the thing. Is Hezekiah saying he never did anything wrong? No. But what he's saying, though, is that he lived his life in a state or position of righteousness. It's not saying he didn't make a mistake. Okay? Even Asa is going to be in the kingdom. If we make it there, we'll see Asa there too. Okay? Because the Bible says they both did which was right in the sight of the Most High. Don't say that they didn't make a mistake. Reason why we need to point this out, because we're not saying that if you make a mistake that it's in and over. But the point of looking at these examples, though, is to rectify mistakes. Right? And Hezekiah wept sore. Verse 4, then came the word of the Most High to Isaiah, saying, go and say to Hezekiah, thus saith the Most High, the God of David thy father, I have heard thy prayer, I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will add unto thy days 15 years, and I will deliver thee and this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria, and I will defend the city, and this shall be a sign unto thee from the Most High, that the Most High will do that thing that he has spoken. Behold, I will bring again the shadow of the degrees, which is gone down in the sundial of Ahaz, 10 degrees backward. So the sun returned 10 degrees, by which degrees it had gone down. The writing of Hezekiah, king of Judah, which he had been sick, and was recovered of his sickness. So the thing is, we read there again, too, he was recovered of his sickness. So again, Asa did one thing, Hezekiah did another thing, okay? Let's look at one more king. This is going to be King Jehoram. Let's see, where is he at? Give me 1 second, y'all.
Are you looking for that? Had Hezekiah,
Mm-hmm.
had he not transformed himself to, do as the Most High will, even though he gave him those 15 years, I'm just thinking about us.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he did extend it,
Mm-hmm.
if we did not hold up to our end of the bargain of the covenant, as we keep going back,
Yep.
then those years can be shortened.
Those years
That
can be
time
shortened.
quickly.
Yep.
Even though he said,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing is, that was dependent on, whether or not we continue on
Mm-hmm.
doing what we supposed to be doing. But as soon as we turn away,
Yep.
then we have forfeited
That's right.
our promise.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to go to the book of 2 Kings. Let's see here. Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 12. And bear with me just 1 second. Bear with me just a moment there. All right. All right, so I'm going to start reading at verse 1. In the 7th year of Jehu, Joash began to reign, and 40 years reigned he in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Zebiah of Beersheba. And Joash did that which was right in the sight of the Most High all his days, wherein Jehoiada the priest instructed him. And really, in ancient Hebrew, that's pronounced Jehoiada the priest instructed him. Now, here we have a king here that says he did righteously in all the days that Jehoiada the priest instructed him, okay? But again, got something else this king did too that's pretty interesting as well, that will kind of have you kind of shaking your head saying, huh? So let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 24. The 2 Chronicles chapter 24. And we're going to start at verse 1. Verse 1 of 2 Chronicles 24. Joash was 7 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 40 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was also Zebiah of Beersheba. And Joash did that which was right in the sight of the Most High all the days of Jehoiada the priest. Now you notice it says he did what was right all the days of Jehoiada the priest. All right? If you know anything about the backdrop of this story, you'll see why it's saying that. Verse 3, and it came to pass after this that Joash was minded to repair the house of the Most High. Then he gathered together the priests and the Levites and said unto them, go into the cities of Judah and gather of all Israel money to repair the house of your God from year to year, and see that ye hasten the matter, howbeit the Levites hastened it not. And the king called for Jehoiada the chief and said unto him, why hast thou not required of the Levites to bring in out of Judah and out of Jerusalem the collection, according to the commandment of Moses the servant of the Most High, and of the congregation of Israel for the tabernacle of witness? For the sons of Ataliah, that wicked woman, had broken up the house of the Most High, and also all the dedicated things of the house of the Most High did they bestow upon Baalim. And at the king's commandment they made a chest and set it without at the gate of the house of the Most High. And they made a proclamation throughout Judah and Jerusalem to bring into the Most High the collection that Moses the servant of God laid upon Israel in the wilderness. Let's see here. Let's skip down to verse, give me 1 second, 15. So Jehoiada had actually did everything about getting the temple, commanded everything. The backdrop to the story, though, is this. When Joash was 7 years old, his father, all his brethren were killed, okay? And so Jehoiada, the priest, had hid him and took care of him for the first 6 years of his life. And when he was 7 years old, that's when he was crowned king. All right, so the reason why it says that in all the days of Jehoiada the priest, he did that was right, because Jehoiada essentially became like an advisor to him, because remember, he was a little boy. And if had it not been for Jehoiada the priest, he would have been killed as well. It was his actual sister that took him to Jehoiada in order to protect him, so that there could be someone for the throne of David to sit on the throne still. Okay, that's the backdrop. But listen, verse 15, but Jehoiada waxed old and was full of days when he died. 130 years old was he when he died. So now you have the priest Jehoiada that dies. And they buried him in the city of David among the kings. Now here's the thing. First off, if you know anything about reading the Kings, nobody was buried in the Valley of the Kings except kings. This is the only priest that was buried in the Valley of the Kings. That should tell you something about how great this man was in Judah. Okay? And it says, because he had done good in Israel both toward God and toward his house. Jehoiada was a good guy. All right? Now, after the death of Jehoiada came the princes of Judah and made obeisance to the king. Then the king hearkened unto them. And they left the house of the Most High, the God of their fathers, and served groves and idols, and wrath came upon Judah and Jerusalem for this trespass. Now, wait a minute, okay? This is what I'm saying. Another example of a king that it says did righteously while Jehoiada the priest was there. Soon as the priest died, the princes of Judah came, they make obeisance to the king, and he listens to them, and then it starts saying they start serving groves and idols, and wrath comes upon Judah and Jerusalem for this trespass. I mean, again, see, this is the thing that we're getting at. How can we see kings that had greater examples of power, of the Most High doing things in their lives, and yet when one little thing happened, they turn away. And it's the same thing today. While we may not have the examples that the kings had, you know what I mean, some of the great demonstrations, but I do believe personally one day we will see them. The fact of the matter is we got some kind of testimony, something we can say that the Most High did something for us, but yet we turn around and forget him when we got on our merry way. When we get to where we got to go, we forget about him. And it's just like we don't want him to touch this area or this area of our lives and all this kind of stuff, and it's just we forget. Then he allows something else to come. And then, and then it's just like, oh, well, I need to start doing this and I need to start seeking the Most High. You should have been seeking the Most High the whole time. Shouldn't have never stopped. Because, when times are going good, that's especially when you need to be seeking him too, because something could come and hit you from any position. And because you all good and merry, going along what you're doing, you won't even see it coming. Because as far as you're concerned, everything's all good at that point. Yet he sent prophets to them to bring them again, verse 19, unto the Most High, and they testified against him, but they would not give ear. And the Spirit of the Most High came upon Zechariah, the son of Jehoiada, the priest, which stood above the people, and said unto them, Thus saith the Most High, Why transgress ye the commandments of the Most High, that ye cannot prosper? Because ye have forsaken the Most High, he hath also forsaken you. There it is again. See, some of us, there's some problems we got because we simply forsook the Most High. We read, bless you, how he said to Asa, as long as you with me, I'm with you. Some of us need to get back with him. And you may say, well, yeah, that message doesn't apply to me, brother, because, yeah, I'm still with him. Okay, then why aren't you trusting him in those areas that you got off limits? Why do you still have limits? Why do you still have areas that are off limits to him? That's how we know we forsook him in some way. Because we still got areas off limits. We still got areas in our life that we refuse to trust him on. So he says, okay, you don't have to trust me. Continue on. You can forget about everything else I've done for you in your life and all this that I got, this point I've gotten you up to. You can forget about it. But we'll see how far you get on your own. That's where it's at. We got to stop being so busy. We got to stop being so consumed with things that are going on in life that we don't make time for them. We got to stop living simply for ourselves. We got to stop. We got to stop this. And we have to start remembering all the things he brought us through before. Because I hear the Most High say this is a time of remembrance. You need to remember what I did for you before, and you need to come back to me and surrender everything over to me. There should not be any areas of your life anymore that are off limits to me. Because the Most High gave us a word, over a year ago, that said he was going to start getting in our mix, right? Yeah, Maswar, you was here for that. And the thing is, that's exactly what's been occurring. Getting in our mix. Getting us uncomfortable. Verse 21, and they conspired against him and stoned him with stones at the commandment of the king in the court of the house of the Most High. Now look at this. This king, still in 2 Chronicles 24, had this son of Jehoiada stoned to death.
Son of the guy who was helping.
Right. The son of the priest that actually took care of him from birth till 7 years old, made sure that he was crowned king. Because, see, you got to go back and read the backdrop. You'll find out his mother had actually took over the throne for a time. Okay? Not his mother, his grandmother took over the throne of Judah, right? The king the priest Jehoiada, I keep calling him king. He was like a king, though. You know what I mean? Because essentially he was ruling the kingdom while while Joash was too young to do anything. Okay? This man, the priest, secured the kingdom for this dude. And then he dies. And then his son comes to the king and says, and the spirit of the Most High came unto Zechariah, the son of Jehoiada the priest, which stood above the people, and said to them, Thus saith the Most High, why transgress ye the commandments of the Most High, that ye cannot prosper? Because ye have forsaken the Most High, he hath also forsaken you. Don't we see a parallel here? Remember Asa? Well, Asa did the same thing, right? Prophet came to him and told him something. He had the prophet put in prison, right? This king here.
But the son, the king, knew the guy because
Right.
they were in the same house.
Exactly. So you got Jehoiada's son, Zechariah, grew up with the king, because the king raised the priest raised this king with his son. And yet, the priest dies, which, you know what I mean, which the way that the story, which the way the account is written, you could tell that this priest was like a father to this king, okay? So the priest dies. His son now comes to tell him, you know what I mean? Why are you guys doing this? Why are you transgressing the commandments of the Most High? You know better than this. And guess what? Instead of the king saying, you know what, Zechariah, like the one who grew up with me, like my brother, I grew up in your house with your father, the priest. You know what, Zechariah, you're right. No. He threw it right back in Zechariah's face. In verse 21, and they conspired against him and stoned him with stones at the commandment of the king. So they tell you the king is directly responsible. Okay? He was directly responsible. He grew up with Zechariah. He knew better than to do this. And yet, at the commandment of the king said, you know what? Go kill him. Verse 22. Thus Joash the king remembered not the kindness which Jehoiada his father had done to him, but slew his son. And when he died, he said, Most High look upon it and required it. That's what Zechariah said as he was dying. Now, again, we look at these kings and we say, how could they do so wickedly? Well, we are no different. We are the same. We do the same things. When somebody comes to us to tell us we're wrong about something, we don't want to hear it. And let's just be honest. Some of us, if we were back in those times and we had the power to kill somebody because they said something we didn't like, we would do it. I'm telling you, I know that's something that's hard to hear. But the way we throw temper tantrums at times and the way we do things when we get angry, the Bible says, to hate your brother is to murder, right? We get at times when we downright hate something somebody says to us because it's correction. And yet, correction is the one thing that'll actually save our souls from the pit. If we accept it. What's the scripture in Proverbs that says a fool disregards wisdom?
Right, he despises.
He despises wisdom, a fool. And there's another one that says that someone wicked despises correction. And that's us. That is us. That's why I say, when you go back, you got to read these accounts of the kings because, it's filled with examples for us to see today. Filled with them. Like I said, Joash, Asa, both get mad at the prophet. To his credit, Asa didn't kill him, but he put him in prison, which is pretty bad, just for him telling them the truth. Still persecuted him, and he oppressed the people. Most High told him, as long as you're with me, I'll be with you. As long as you seek me, I'll be found. It's the same word he's given to us today. Because we've stopped seeking him in some places. That's why we can't find him. Or that's why we're wondering where he's at. He's still there. He's just waiting on us to come back to him.
Watching and waiting.
Watching, waiting, as the father did in Matthew with the prodigal son, was waiting. He's waiting on us still, y'all. Something still for us to do.
Wait has an expiration too.
Yes, his patience will expire. But we thank him that his word today is, I'm waiting. And that's what we're going to title this lesson. I'm waiting. Or I'm waiting for you. Because there's something we need to do. So remember these accounts. Remember how these kings have both said that they were actually doing righteously. For Joash, it says he did righteously during the time while Jehoiada the priest was alive. But notice that at some point they forgot what the Most High had already did for them. And they stopped seeking his face. They stopped looking to him. And then they acted contrary to what they knew better, and they knew better not to do what they did. We know better as well today.
So this last king, I guess in a sense he was a hypocrite because he saved face. You know how we put on the front?
Yep.
Once, as long as somebody's watching us.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as those eyes are taken off of you,
Yep.
or that person's no longer around, and you start to really show who you really are.
That's right.
Because he just didn't turn wicked overnight.
Mm-hmm.
That was already there.
Yes. Something that wasn't converted in his heart.
That's right.
See, when Jehoiada was alive, the thing is, essentially, that's why you can see from the account that essentially Jehoiada was king. Okay? When Jehoiada was alive, Jehoiada advised him what to do. No, king, this is what you need to do. Remember, we got to do righteously. Now, because Jehoiada raised him, Joash, from a small child, from a baby, he looked at him like a father. So the thing is, it would be like, with our fathers, most of the time today, we would look at them and want to, most of us, want to listen and stuff like that, Craig.
But at the same time, he knew his father was a king. And
Yes.
So could there not be some ego?
Oh, absolutely, I'm sure. Some kind of thing got in the way because...
The father thinking was God's son.
Right.
Now he's saying, I'm king now.
Right.
I'll do it the way I want to do it.
That's right.
Like the way you just said a while ago, that he got up and started smelling himself.
Yes. Got his ego. But let's finish reading this here real quick to see what happened to him. Verse 23 of 2 Chronicles 24. And it came to pass at the end of the year that the host of Syria came up against him. And they came to Judah and Jerusalem and destroyed all the princes of the people from among the people and sent all the spoil of them unto the king of Damascus. So he forsake the Most High forsook him. Verse 24, for the army of the Syrians came with a small company of men, and the Most High delivered a very great host into their hand. Who did the Most High deliver? He delivered a host of Judah and Jerusalem into the hand of the Syrians, because they had forsaken the Most High God of their fathers, so they executed judgment against Joash. See, if we don't be careful, eventually, this is not the kind of judgment we want to come against us. But as Masawa pointed out, mercy does run out. Now, we thank the Most High that His mercy is new every day. We really do thank Him for grace. But we know mercy does run out even in today, because the book of Hebrews talks about those who regard the blood of the covenant as nothing. There are some of those people. Oh, but we couldn't be none of those people, could we? Well, yes, we could, because here's the thing. You know how somebody regards the blood of the covenant as nothing? When you say that you're walking with Messiah and that you're living a righteous lifestyle, but secretly you're not. You're regarding the blood of the covenant as something, as a common thing. And the Bible speaks of a greater judgment on someone that does that under the new covenant. So the thing is this: we are too lax sometimes in our walk with the Most High because of the fact He's gracious and merciful. We're too lax. But we need to understand that judgment can always still be around the corner. We don't know when His patience will run out with us. And someone may ask, well, brother, I don't understand, why is a word like this coming forth? Well, I don't know either. I'm just simply going with what the Spirit led me. So,
To keep us in check.
I'm just going where the Spirit led me. So, accept that for what it is.
Right.
Verse 25, and when they were departed from him, for they had left him in great diseases. What? Look at this. Joash is in diseases now. Interesting. His own servants conspired against him for the blood of the sons of Jehoiada the priest, and slew him on his bed, and he died. Law of sowing and reaping. What did the law say? That if you kill a man, if you murder a man, you should be murdered.
Right.
Judgment came there swift. And think about this, right? Because he murdered the son of the priest. The son of the priest came to him and told him righteously, why have you done this? Why have you turned away from the Most High and forsook Him so that these things can come upon you? Let's put that in everyday practice. Why have we forsaken the Most High in some of these areas in our lives? Why have we? Why do we? Why do we continuously have time for everything else except Him? Why is there still some things that we can't let Him be God? Why is there still some things we got holding back that we can't let Him be God at? Well, judgment came on him, and like it says there, for the blood of the sons of Jehoiada the priest, and slew him on his bed, and he died, and they buried him in the city of David, but they buried him not in the sepulchres of the kings. Whoa, look at that. But Jehoiada was buried in the sepulchres of the kings. So Jehoiada was buried with the kings, and he was nothing but, he was just a priest. That guy that was actually the king wasn't even worthy to be buried with the kings. See, it's interesting because, like I said, all these things, it's just, we need to go back and look at these examples and make sure that we're coming out on the good end of the good examples and not on the bad end of the bad examples.
For too much is given, much is required.
For too much is given, as much required, as Brother Craig there mentioned. So again, why are these things in the Old Testament written? For our examples. And we can take these things, we can apply them practically in our life, and we can walk with the Most High. We can see Him actually deliver us. We can see Him rescue us and give us victory. But as the scripture said there through Azariah, the son of Oded, to Asa, if you walk with the Most High, He will be with you. But if you forsake Him, He will also forsake you.
You know what's funny about that? They have told us for years that the Bible, we wasn't the people of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, they claim to be the people of the Bible. And they did everything contrary
Yes. Yes.
to the examples that are being given.
Yes.
Totally contrary.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know not one king or one ruler that has done anything right against, for, their people. They've done everything crooked and evil.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, so how have you been claiming to be be the people of this Bible and
Yeah.
do contrary to everything
Right.
that's in that Bible.
That's right. Yeah, because I know the blasphemy of them who say Revelation 2 and 9, Revelations 3 and 9. But
And you're not supposed to know this. That's
Right.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We're not in rule. We don't rule anything.
yes,
Right.
right,
But
right.
they do, and
Yep.
they are contrary, totally. They are the hypocrites, and you
Yep.
know, they're not even following it themselves. And they supposed to be claiming to be the people of the Bible.
That's
and
right.
They're not even following it.
Not only that, they're not even teaching what they're
They
supposed
ain't
to.
even teaching.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So it's like,
But you know what?
it's just like,
Let me close this out, because that's definitely a topic for definitely discussion on another day. Yeah. So let's remember though, let's make sure though that we're not forsaking the Most High. Let's make sure that every area of our lives we're giving over to Him. Let's make sure that we're really truly seeking Him and seeking His will for our lives and seeking His way and not our own way. And with that, we'll bid you a shalom.